Watching Balance of Power, I'm David Weston. Just over 10 years ago now, the SEC charged Texan Alan Stanford for fraud and securities law violations for running a massive Ponzi scheme that cheated investors out of some $7 billion. Stanford is now serving a term of 110 years in prison, but so far less than $600 million of the lost investments have been recouped. Many of the investors waiting for their savings come from the state of Louisiana, which has led Republican Senator Sen Cassidy to take up their cause. Welcome, Senator Kennedy, now back to the program, joining us today from Capitol Hill. So, Senator, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, David.
In reading up on this, I knew about the Stanford fraud, but what I didn't realize is the sharp disparity between the percentage that's been recouped from the Madoff victims, Bernie Madoff's victims, and the Stanford victims. Why is that?
Well, we're trying to find out, David. I mean, this is a very sad situation. What Stanford did is unconscionable. He's in prison. He's got a 110-year sentence to serve. He deserves every year of it. But a receiver's been appointed. The receiver's been trying to recover the money. I think so far the receiver's recovered out of the $7 billion, $500 million, $600 million. Of course, the problem is half of it went to fees. And these are not wealthy people who were victimized here. I mean, I'm not excusing what happened in the Madoff Ponzi scheme, but these are not wealthy people. These are just average Louisianians. I had hoped that the SIPC, the Securities Investor Protection Corporation, was going to cover these losses, but the SIPC takes the position this was a foreign bank. It was. And that these were not securities, they were certificates of deposit. Now, SocGen has about, I forget how much they have, $500 million, $210 million.
Yeah, $200 million they got, a chunk of it.
Yeah, SocGen's got $210 million. There's been a final judgment that they need to return that money. It was money that belonged to Stanford. Right. We're trying to get them to release it.
And in fact, I've got your letter here with Senator Cassidy. You've written a joint letter to Societe Generale. And in part you say, let us be very clear, this is not your money. It belongs to American citizens who have been victimized by SIB, that's the Stanford organization, with your complicity. Refusing to return their money has prolonged their suffering, and it is unacceptable. It does seem unacceptable. Why are they doing that? What is their excuse?
Well, they've got a lot of legal excuses. I met with Jay Clayton, who is our SEC chairman, doing a great job yesterday, in fact, about this issue. He's going to be in Louisiana over the next couple of months. We're going to set a meeting with him and the lawyers who are helping my people in Louisiana and many of those who were victimized by Stanford. And we're going to talk about this. Senator Cassidy and I are just going to keep pounding them. We're going to chase the bank like a hound from hell until we get this $210 million. They owe it. They need to pay it.
Is there any legislation that could help this, or is this more sort of your bully pulpit, which is substantial, whether it's talking with the SEC or with Societe Generale?
Well, we could try legislation. You know, you run into the problem of you're directing a foreign corporation to pay money, even though there's a final judgment. The lawyers seem to think that the shorter way home is to just keep pounding on the bank until they do it. But, you know, I'm going to talk further with the lawyers in Louisiana. I want to help my people. I mean, this is the 10th anniversary. Yes, it was $7 billion, for God's sakes. Yes, the receivers recovered $500 or $600 million, but half of it went to the lawyers. Yeah. And went in fees. And you know, I just, this is unconscionable.